Hey, guys, we are live. Good evening. Good evening. How are we all? Kicking off episode 3 tonight, guys, of the Property Sourcing Show with a topic that has recently come up inside both my mastermind program as recently as this week, but also outside of the mastermind program. I've actually seen this topic and this question come up quite a lot in the wider community. Okay, it's one that I've seen asked inside the Property Sourcing Made Simple community and other communities across the property sourcing industry. The question is, guys, and this is a super popular one. I'm new to property sourcing. I am new to deal packaging. What should I be charging? How do I charge? And the most important thing, should I discount my fees? Guys, my feelings on discounting your fees are pretty hardcore, okay? They're pretty hardcore. The answer is no, never. But let's jump straight into tonight's episode and cover it along the lines, okay? With our trademark, short, bite-sized and actionable points, guys, that you can take and learn from tonight, but most importantly, you need to implement. I am completely a fan of educating yourself. You should consume content. You should try and fill your brain with knowledge. You should read. You should listen. But the thing is, guys, while your education can never be taken away from you, the one thing that will make the difference on your property journey is the implementation, okay? So you can listen to my shows until you're blue in the face. You can consume my content and the content of other property professionals in the industry until you are blue in the face. You can read the books. You can check out the YouTube channels, which I encourage you to do. But if you're not implementing the things that I am giving you here on the show every single week, if you're not implementing the content that I put out for you on a regular basis, your results will be pretty shit. And that's me calling a spade a spade. So your property sourcing and deal packaging fees seem to be causing a lot of you some concern, some distress, okay, some anguish, I think it would be fair to say. And this is really if you're new to the property sourcing game, okay? Now, I had a conversation just last week with a lady in my mastermind program, and the first thing she said to me was, well, maybe I should do my first deal or two for free so that I can gain some experience. Now, I'm going to say that again because I was equally as shocked. And if you are as shocked as me, I almost fell off my chair when she had this conversation. She said, Danielle, I'm thinking maybe I should do my first deal or two for free just to gain some experience, okay? To say, guys, that I almost had a stroke at the other end of the phone would be the understatement of the century, okay? That would have been, in my opinion, professional suicide. That would have been, in my opinion, professional suicide, because the same investor that you gave the freebie to will never respect your time effort, ever, okay? He will never respect your sweat effort, nor will he respect, or she, the value that you bring as a result, okay? So take it from someone who did discount their fees at the beginning of their property sourcing journey, at the very beginning of my journey. Once you have set that stall out, okay, once you have put the stake in the ground and said, well, yeah, I'm somebody who discounts my fees, okay, it's damn hard to come back from that. It's damn hard to climb back up the ladder to these standard flat fee conversations. Here's the thing, guys. When you take a look around at the standard fees for property sourcing or deal packaging or property trading, however you want to term it, they do seem like fairly chunky numbers, okay? 3 to 5K for buy to lets, 10K or thereabouts for HMOs, depending if it's done for you or not. More than that again for sourcing commercial projects, land development projects, okay? So to the untrained eye, you know, to a relative newcomer to this particular property strategy, those numbers are chunky. They're juicy numbers, okay? Those numbers in some instances are 3 times, if not more, that of what some people earn in a month, okay? And with that in mind, guys, of course I can understand that those fees seem ludicrous to be charging those types of fees for what you deem as just finding a property. The reality is, however, guys, that as you progress on your journey, or as you become more au fait, more accustomed to what you're doing, okay, you will have discovered that there is more to property sourcing and deal packaging and deal trading than just finding the property. Okay, some of you may have found that out already. Okay, this is not get rich quick. There's more to that. There's more to this business than scrolling through Rightmove. That I can assure you. So if that's what you think this particular property strategy entails, you should X off now. This show ain't for you. Okay, this is a workers' ethics show only. This is business, guys. Okay, there are processes, and your time, your knowledge, and your skill sets must be deployed. So ask yourself the question when you consider discounting, or even worse, giving a freebie. Are you running a business or are you running a charity? Ask yourself that question. It's vitally important, guys, that you know your worth, and I could speak all day about this, okay? As a property sourcer, guys, it's really important to me that I help you become comfortable with that, all right? Because I have had the same struggles. The difference being that I made the mistake of not knowing my worth very early on, which resulted in a much more difficult conversation being had thereafter with said investor. Very difficult, very painful. To make it easier to not only understand your value as a property sourcer, but to get comfortable with your price tag, you should first off start by reflecting on exactly what it is that you do for your investor, okay? So you can help him, her, he, she, they, however whatever the politically correct term is, easy for me to say. You help them acquire assets. Those assets produce cash flow, okay? That will increase in value over time. So in short, guys, you're helping your investor grow their wealth. You, as a professional property sourcer, are helping an individual add to and increase their wealth. You have to think about that, okay? You're helping another individual add to their wealth via your skill set, via your connections, via your time, via your knowledge, okay? So when you reflect on it in this manner, it should at least begin to make you acknowledge that indeed there is a substantial value on your worth and that you should be compensated accordingly, okay? Here's the thing, guys. You have to break it down like this. You have to acknowledge what you're bringing to the table, okay? You have to acknowledge that what you do is a skill and not a hobby. I want to say that again. You have to acknowledge that what you do is a skill and not a hobby. Really, really, really important. And I guess it's really easy for me to say this, guys, with the experience that I now have behind me, especially now that I have come full circle from the property sourcer to the property investor. And I can appreciate that, particularly when you are new to this industry, this strategy, you know, it's easier said than done to get in the right frame of mind, to get comfortable with knowing your worth and the value that you bring. It's easier said than done. But I would also argue that perhaps for some of you who are struggling with the charging dilemma at the moment, it really boils down to the fact that you're so new to the game that you actually haven't realized yet just how much effort and work ethic is involved in property sourcing and deal packaging. I would argue that if you were truly conscious of the levels of activity that you must be conducting on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, then you would very quickly get very comfortable with charging your 3K fee, with your 5K fee, with your 10K fee, okay? I would bet that if I were to ask the more experienced members of our community if they would give their fees a second thought, the answer would most definitely be a resounding no. Because the more experienced members of the community, i.e. those that have been doing this for maybe more than 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, you will find that those guys will never enter a conversation in relation to discounting their fees, in relation to giving a freebie, because they have been doing it so long, they are fully aware of the levels of activity, work ethic, and sweat effort that goes into this particular business. Why? They know the level of work. They know the volume of activity they have to undertake, the time that they spend on their craft, the value that they bring to the investor. And it's for that reason, guys, their fees do not keep them awake at night. Their fees don't keep them awake at night. I sourced my first deal for £1,000. I can remember it clearly, which, don't get me wrong, was really good money. It was a fraction of the price that I should have charged. Why did I do this? Well, firstly, guys, I had zero confidence. Okay, I was completely new to the arena. I had not yet found my feet, and crucially, I had not yet realized just how much work ethic that it would be required to actually make a go of this business. Okay, had I been aware of just how much needed to go into this, then I definitely would not have agreed to discount my fees when I had been asked. Now, side note to that, any investor, and I've learned this the hard way, so I can speak with great conviction on this, any investor who asks for a discount on your fees is not an investor that I would choose to work with again. If they are asking for money off on your fees from the start, they are signaling to you immediately that they do not value what you bring to the table. Okay? If they're asking you for money off on your fees from the start, they do not value what you're bringing to the table. And it would be my inclination to focus my efforts on someone who does know my worth. Again, speaking straight from experience, that was a situation I was once in. That was a situation I have learned from and will never be in again. Okay, so let's strip it back to basics, guys, to really help anyone out there currently struggling with putting a price on their property sourcing services. Let's take it back to the foundations and ask, what exactly is it that you have done or that you do consistently to bring and add value to your clients? First off the bat, for many of you catching the episode here this evening, episode 3, you will have invested in yourself at some point on your journey. Okay, you will have invested in yourself at some point on your journey. You will have paid for to attend training, perhaps. Okay, you will have paid to attend training, courses to sharpen your skills, to acquire more specialized knowledge, to become more experienced in your strategy. Many people listening in tonight will have further invested in themselves by enrolling in mastermind programs, okay, to spend time around people on a similar journey as them, to learn from the mistakes of others, to have a mentor on hand to provide a safety net along the way. All of these things require an investment of your time and your money, okay? Would it therefore not be safe to say that these new skills that you have acquired deserve to be financially remunerated in turn? Would it not be fair to say that? Think of it in simple terms, guys. In the world of employment, the more that you enhance your skill set, okay, the further up the chain of the ladder you can climb, and in turn, the higher you climb up your organization's ladder because of an increased skill set, the more you are remunerated financially. Why would that not carry over into your business? Ask yourself that question. It's the exact same in sourcing. And the additional education or the additional peer support that you invest in should be reflected. It should be reflected in the value that you bring and the fees that you charge. Education is an investment, guys, and you should be rewarded for it. Bear in mind that there are people out there who have not made that investment, okay, in their education and have zero issues charging their full worth. Okay, so if you have gone that extra mile with your commitment to the game, then you need to reflect it in your value. Let's take it a step further. Other than the costs of perhaps education, additional support, whatever it might be, there are also setup costs associated with getting your property sourcing business off the ground. Okay, you have your compliance to get in place, okay, to ensure that you're above board and legal at all times. Now, those setup fees are in and around the region of £1,200. Okay, and then you have yearly renewals thereafter. Okay, so you might decide to get a website up and running, which frankly I don't feel is essential at the start of your journey. I didn't have a website at the start of mine, and it did me absolutely no harm. But some of you might choose to have a website for some sort of internet presence. Okay, you might decide to join paid networking events like BNI, Business Networking Initiative, to enhance your business. All these come at a cost if you choose to do them. There are costs associated here, guys, and it's only right that you acknowledge this when you're debating whether or not you should charge your full fee to an investor. Let's take it one step further again, guys, okay? Marketing is going to cost you some money if you choose to go the direct to vendor route. Now, as a side note, I'm an avid supporter of working alongside estate agents. If you check any of my content over the last number of years, you will know that my preferred route is with estate agents to secure deals. You know, it has been my go-to since I started, and it's been a wonderful source of deal flow for me. Okay, it's also free, which really, really helps, bar the odd coffee or cake that you will bring to their office. Okay, but on a side note, guys, if you haven't picked up my ebook on how to work with property sourcers, drop a comment under the show tonight and we'll ensure that you get that. It's actually in the announcements tab of the community Facebook group. Go get a copy. But let's bring it back to paid marketing, guys, if that's the route that you choose. And as you progress on your direct to vendor marketing, you know that you will want to have an element of that in your business. You will want to incorporate it to increase your scope, you know, to increase your pipeline. So to do all that, guys, costs money. Letters, envelopes, stamps, flyers, leaflets, these are not free. And it's only right and fair that you take these business costs into consideration when you're once again mulling over your property sourcing fee. We are not running a cowboy outfit here, guys. We are running a professional, credible property sourcing business, and you really need to switch your mind on exactly what it is that you bring to the table. To put it into better context, guys, let me break it down for you even further, okay? Your job does not end once you have found a suitable property. If you think it does, you're fucking screwed, because it doesn't, okay? Your job doesn't end once that property has been found. There continue to be so many moving parts. I always refer to property sourcing as a game of chess. There are just so many moving parts at all times. Okay, so once you get it to sale agreed, what other moving parts of the process might require your time? What other parts of the process might require your knowledge? And what other parts of the process might require your skill set? To name but a few, the many questions raised by surveyors will require your time, knowledge, and input. The questions raised by valuers will require your time, knowledge, and input. The consistent communications with estate agents will require your time. The constant chasing of updates. Back in my early days, this is easily the part of the process where I really earned my fee, okay, literally. Remember that in most cases, a sourcer's final fee is paid on completion, which means that it really is within your interest to chase all the relevant parties to ensure that everyone has their fingers on the pulse, that there are no foreseen holdups, because it's your fee and your invoice that is the first one that you want to check when that completes. You will also expend time and energy putting your power team in place, coordinating refurb works, sourcing quotes for any refurb works that need to be undertaken. You may also be spending time sourcing and introducing a suitable letting agent for when the project is finished and requires tenanting. The list goes on, guys. Your job does not stop the moment that you find a property. In fact, if anything, it's really just beginning at that point in time. So with all these things in mind, guys, it should become much, much easier and digestible for you to get comfortable with your sourcing fees and acknowledge from the offset that no, you should not do your first deal or two for free. And no, You should not be talked into discounting your fees just because you are relatively new to the business, okay? By discounting your fees, you are in turn diminishing the value that you bring to the table. Never do that. You will not be respected for it in the long run. Another way to look at it, guys, is to take a step back and truly acknowledge who's actually getting the better end of the bargain in a sourcing transaction. Ask yourself that question. Who's getting the better end of the bargain here? Yes, you will earn a handsome fee for your services. Yes, the fee for sourcing one deal is more than the average take-home salary for many. But think about what you're actually giving your investor in return for a small fee. You're providing him or her with an asset which cash flows infinitely, that will increase in value for eternity. It's a pretty good deal. You know, in terms of who's getting the better end of the stick there, it's the investor. So you're busting your ass doing the things that you do best to increase their wealth infinitely. When you really strip that back and you look at it from that perspective, it really helps make the worry of the fee structure quite insignificant. I will also point out to you guys on tonight's episode that any seasoned or serious investor won't blink twice at your fees, provided that you haven't knocked on a few zeros for good measure at the end. But a serious and seasoned investor will be all too aware of the value that you bring, okay? They will be all too aware of the increased long-term wealth that you're helping them create. They will be all too aware of the return on investment in cash flow that they will get as a result of your one-time fee. So here's my tip. Work with those investors. Find investors who value you. Work with investors who appreciate the time and the effort it takes to do this job well. To date, 3.5 years in, I have never had to work with any more than 4 investors ever. 4. Why? Because I was burned in the process quite early on in my journey, with someone who didn't appreciate my value, someone who insisted on trying to pull my price down, and in turn, my value down. So, naturally, once bitten, twice shy. Find investors who get it. Work with those investors. Keep running with this one thing in mind and just move forward. Investors are coming to you guys for a reason, not for fun. It's not a party. They're coming to you for a reason. They need your help. Okay? It's quite simple. They need your help. If they had the time, if they had the area knowledge, if they had the contacts, or even the inclination, they might choose to do it themselves. But the thing is, they don't have at least one of those things. From experience, they rarely have all 3. Okay? They lack the time, they lack the knowledge, they lack the ability to want to do it themselves. Okay? Hence the reason they will seek out a professional to carry out a service for them. In layman's terms, I have bookkeeping basics, but I'm not trying to deploy clever tax strategies into my business. I seek out the help of a professional to provide me with that service, and I pay him accordingly because of the value that he brings me. It's the exact same, guys, when it comes to your sourcing fees. Be proud of your skill set. Be proud of your contact base that you will build up in time. Be proud of the education that you have perhaps invested in to get to this point. You are an asset, and as such, you have value. Okay? So with all this in mind, guys, with a newfound respect for your worth and your value, you should be much more confident when it comes to your charging scale. And your charging scale in property sourcing, guys, broadly looks like, and this is a market average, £3,000 flat fee for sourcing a standard buy-to-let. Okay, £4,000 to £5,000 for sourcing a standard buy-to-let, but also overseeing refurb work if it needs it, getting the builders in place, introducing the letting agent, and so on. So this is the total hands-off package. You can usually expect to charge in the region of £5,000 for that turnkey service, £3,000 for the flat sourcing fee. Okay, in the region of £5,000 for sourcing a ready-made HMO. So by ready-made, we mean one that is already legally deemed a HMO. Okay, a sourcing fee of between £4,000 to £5,000 would be considered market acceptable. Okay, the fee in this instance is more because the return on investment is greater than that of a single let, so you can justify your higher fee. For a HMO conversion, that is finding a property and converting it into a HMO, you can generally expect to charge 4 times the gross monthly rent roll. Okay, so if the anticipated gross monthly rent was going to be £2,000 per month, then you could comfortably charge a sourcing fee of £8,000 for that service. Okay. Commercial and development projects are on a larger scale and usually come down to a negotiation of on a percentage basis. Okay, and that's per deal. So that will fluctuate per deal, and that's something you'll want to have a personal conversation with your investor for. Okay, but if you're sourcing, say, flip projects, a standard £3,000 to £5,000 can apply. But if you're particularly creative and you have educated yourself, you can also build into your fee for sourcing flips, BRRs, a percentage profit share of the resale or the equity if it's a BRR deal. Okay, now that is a more creative strategy and that will require some education on your part, but that's what's out there and that's what's possible. There are a multitude of possibilities and options to open up, guys. You simply have to know your worth. Okay, value, value, value first. Value yourself first. So guys, I hope this episode of the Property Sourcing Show tonight has been useful. Remember, our aim within the show is to provide short, bite-sized and actionable pieces of information that you can take forward and implement today. Okay, I love you to learn and I love that you're learning through me, but to really see results, we need you to implement. Remember, that's the key. So let me know your thoughts below, guys. If you have found this episode useful, please like, comment, share, leave me some feedback down below. I will see you all next week for episode 4 of the Property Sourcing Show. Have a great day. See you soon. Bye.